appreciation to Professor Christina for accommodating me in this venue. I know this tract is dedicated to a discussion of bladder and bowel issues. As it turns out, one of the major reasons why people who had strokes have difficulty mainstreaming back to work after their stroke is because of urinary incontinence and bowel issues. And so this topic really does have relevance to the tract at hand. What I'll be talking about very, very briefly is the process of vocational rehabilitation and how, as physiatrists and as rehabilitation professionals, we're able to really make a difference and touch the lives of our patients. Vocational rehabilitation is a process by which we really complete the loop. This is a very busy slide, and it departs from the conventional format. I will tell you that we've adapted it from a presentation. My goal is really to try to provide you with an understanding of the vocational rehabilitation process and how we as physicians can make a big difference. Obviously, impairment, disability, and handicap is a tremendous issue. Neurological impairments after stroke are very common. If you take a closer look at this slide over here, you will see that weakness, spasticity, urinary incontinence, bowel incontinence can occur. And these are major reasons why people do not return to work. So the next question becomes, how can we as physicians help to improve the quality of life of this population? The literature actually provides us with some clues and some help. An evaluation of early supported discharge for rehabilitation, training in bowel and bladder education, motor retraining, vocational reintegration can make a big difference. It's important that we also note that not all strokes are alike. Hemorrhagic strokes and ischemic strokes are very different, behave in very different ways. And this top slide actually shows you how the numbers stack out. What we need to be able to do is determine the type of stroke on the basis of the acute rehabilitation assessment early on. What I'd like to point out is statistics relating
the handheld.
I'd like to point out some of the statistics relating to return to work after stroke. You see that depending on a person's age determines whether they will return to work, the likelihood of return to work. On the x-axis and on the y-axis we have the percentage or the numbers of returning to work. This is based on research in the Journal of Stroke. You see that under age 55 has the greatest likelihood of return to work. Those over age 64 are significantly less. Now what about stroke location? Does that make a difference? We have to ask ourselves that question. And Wozniak, my colleague Wozniak and others at Johns Hopkins and the University of Maryland actually looked at this question. And they found that anatomical location in ischemic stroke is relatively unimportant. Where the stroke was really makes not a difference in terms of whether the person will return to work. What's even more critical factor is the severity of the stroke and related issues like urinary incontinence, bowel incontinence, cognitive function, irregardless of the stroke location. So, I'd like to briefly close by saying that we all know that, in the words of Sigmund Freud, the two essential tasks in life are to love and to work. And part of our goal as rehabilitation professionals is to try to help people return to work in the most cost-effective, the most compassionate way. No matter what their particular medical sequela is, urinary incontinence, bowel incontinence, motor weakness, it's critically important that we be able to look at these issues early on. Rehabilitation is a continuum. It begins with acute level rehab, progresses to systemic rehab, various other phases. In some of your countries, you may have longer lengths of stay. Another issue with driving. Can a person drive after stroke? And obviously the vocational rehabilitation team is composed of multiple elements: physical therapist, occupational therapist, nurse, physician, physiatrist, and it's really a balance. And being able to help these people mainstream back to the workplace is an incredibly important goal. Prescription for enablement. Enabling a person to return to work is going to give them the self-esteem and caring that they really need to carry on after potentially life-threatening disability. And in my center in Baltimore, we've actually seen thousands of people who've had strokes and have been able to return into work over time. Much of the research that goes on in Maryland, Johns Hopkins, as well as University of Maryland, focuses on the vocational aspect of stroke. And obviously, we're all here because we're dedicated to physical rehabilitation medicine. No matter what the sequela is, it's bowel incontinence, bladder incontinence, weakness, we're committed to trying to help our patients. And the heart of rehabilitation is best summarized by the words of Albert Einstein, who once said that to raise new questions, new possibilities from a new angle, and to complete the loop. Completing the loop means returning a person to work after catastrophic disability. If you're able to return a person to work after a stroke, then that really completes the loop. That probably is the most potent outcome measure of success of any rehabilitation program. I thank you all for attending today.
So, thank you, Dr. Rack, for the very interesting presentation and the poster. Are there questions in the audience? Yes, please.
Yes.
Hi. When do you start the vocational rehabilitation services?
That's really an excellent question. We try to start it very early on. The day the patient is admitted to the acute level rehab program, the very day that the patient is admitted to acute level rehab, we take a look. We ask them that famous question: what kind of work did you do before? What was your job description? What were the tasks involved? And we do a determination of that very important fact. And then we gear the program towards, we mold the program, we customize the program towards those goals in the hope that they will one day return to work. Customization of the program is critical. So it begins on day one, and that really enables us to get a more accurate and a more focused approach towards returning the patient to wellness and employment.
Do you cooperate with employers?
Oh yes, oh absolutely. The employer is probably one of the most critical factors in the mainstreaming back to work process. And we really need to make certain, from the employee standpoint, that the patient is able to live up to the restrictions and specific job responsibilities. And so we try to focus our physical therapy and occupational therapy approach towards the employee's expectations and the employee's goals. Very often, we serve as intermediary in certain cases between the employers and the employees and patients, and it really makes for a seamless and very excellent process. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, now I also have a question.
Yes, of course.
When you have a look to your analysis and results, are there any results which are surprising for you? Which you didn't expect?
Excellent question. Yes. One of the major areas of surprise relates to patient's cognitive status. And one of the things that we found is that even if a person has a cognitive status that may not specifically live up to the expectations of return to work, there's an amazing role for neuropsychological services in bolstering a person's cognitive reserve. This whole concept of neurodiversity is critically important. Neurodiversity says that basically not everyone is the same. Everyone has a different cognitive skill. Everyone has a different ability to think and being able to account for persons' strengths and weaknesses and be able to create a friendly, accommodating, open environment will really make a huge difference in the overall wellness of the patient. That's why we're all in rehabilitation. That's why we're dedicated professionals, and that's what sets our field, and I include everyone here, apart from any other specialties, because it's a holistic, caring, compassionate field that's dedicated to the diverse needs of our patient population.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are there any further questions? Okay, thank you
Very much.
Sehr schön.
Ich danke Ihnen.